Welcome to Steve's Cottage with Steve Horner. Steve Horner, a former radio talk show host, helps spotlight the source of today's social chaos while offering practical solutions to the problems negatively affecting you and your family. And now, here's Steve.
And now, another exciting episode in the life of the most fantastic crime fighter the world has ever seen. Bark, 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 bark! Chicken Man! He's everywhere! He's everywhere! In the last episode, you'll remember Chicken Man, who doubles as a veteran shoe salesman in a great metropolitan city, was busy visiting and sizing up the chief of police with a black Oxford. He didn't have the 10.5 Charlie, so he's trying to force the chief's foot into a 10 Dave, when all of a sudden his wrist radio buzzes. Miss Hellfinger, I'll be right with you. Chief, I got to take this call in the back room. I'll be back and we'll work on their shoes. Meanwhile, take a walk around the carpet here and see how they feel. Don't scuff them. Yes, Miss Hellfinger.
Chicken Man, we got a problem down there in the social services. The cunts down there are getting a little wicked, and we might need your protection.
All right, Miss Hellfinger, I'll be right down. And so it goes with that 60s and 70s and into the 80s, that Cheech and Chong crazy stoner type of radio syndicated show called The Adventures of Chicken Man. Well, after I got out of the service and I was in Vietnam, and I was out of Vietnam, and then I was doing some bartending in San Jose, where my brother had a funky bar up in Mountain View, and that was called St. James Infirmary, and it was a peanut bar with crazy stuff and loud music and just packed with all sorts of different types of people, and it was fun working there. I used to live in San Jose with a party animal type of crowd that were some of them were going to San Jose State, some were working, some were just a fun, crazy animal house type of environment. And they used to hang out at this bar and on the campus at San Jose State. And they said, Horn, you got to come down. They used to call me Horn. Horn, you got to come down and do your Chicken Man stunt there at the bar. So I went down to the bar and talked to the owners and introduced myself. The fellas' name were Mark and Bob, two big husky fellas, dark hair and mustache, about 290 pounds apiece, and they were both offensive tackles for the San Jose State Spartans, who used to kick ass on Stanford and some of the other tough competitors in that league, in that division, regularly. Well, these guys had graduated, and they bought the bar, and they made it into a great, big, real popular joint, you see. And they said, we want Chicken Man on Thursdays. So I went and I rented a complete outfit of plumage from top to bottom. And on Thursdays at about 10 o'clock, when the stoner crowd were just all into their party Cheech and Chong type of crazy attitudes, I'd be at the door. And the bartender would yell out, "It's Chicken Man!" And I'd work my way through the crowd, you see, with my plumage. And I'd go, back, 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 back. And the crowd would kind of file out and make a trail for me, you see, like the parted sea. And so I worked my way up to the crowd, kind of pecking the cheeks of the pretty young ladies, you see. And I'd get up on stage, and the lights would come on, and the 200-300 Cheech and Chong stoned party animals would be right there with full anticipation. And I'd get that microphone right up to my beak, and I'd yell, "And now, another exciting episode in the life of the most fantastic crime fighter the world has ever seen. And then, of course, it became a cult, and everybody would start yelling in with me, "Bok, bok, bok, bok!" And I'd yell, "It's Chicken Man!" And then they'd scream, "He's everywhere! He's everywhere! He's everywhere!" Well, I'd do my crazy show for about 15, 20 minutes, and everybody would go crazy and get more drinks and start dancing again, and I'd be back at midnight for another show, and they paid me pretty well for a year or so down there, but that was a fun time. Then years later, after I'm married to Joyce, who's from Southern California, well, actually Needles, but she had a lot of contact in, up around the coast, school friends and so on and so forth. We flew to Costa Mesa to see her friends, Johnny and Paula. And they had a whole big circle of friends, you see. And Costa Mesa is just south of Huntington Beach. And one of their rich friends had a great big motorhome. And we're driving around the beach areas, and it's still, light out late in the afternoon. And they're having happy hour in the back and visiting. And Joyce is gabbing with all her old friends and everything, you see. And I'm riding shotgun. Well, we pull up to them. We're picking up friends. And so we're pulling up to this one home, and it's a nice house, you see. And so they're talking about picking up Judy. Now, Judy is remarried, but nobody has met her new husband. So the girls go to the door and pick up Judy, and they come back, and their new husband is there, and I see him. I open up the door, and I jump out just to be a gentleman, and I say, "Hello, I'm Steve Horner," and he looks at me, the new husband, and says, "It's frickin' Chicken Man." I couldn't believe it. Mark or Bob, they were twins. Which one is it? It's Mark. Gosh, it's good to see you. What a small world, you see. And that's the crux of my Chicken Man story. Oh, by the way, I'm Steve Horner. Welcome to Steve's Cottage. Yes, I am doing my Trumpster hat because I'm a major Trumpster supporter. And if you're not, you're goofy. That's all there is to it. You don't know the rules. You don't know the routine. You don't know the score. If you're not a Trumpster, you don't know the score. And if the mutt wins, I hope you all get what you deserve, because what goes around comes around. And that's exactly, little post-nasal drip. And that's exactly the underscoring crux of this story, you see. Because what goes around comes around. You reap what you sow. And it's a small world. There's Mark right there, you see, from years earlier. It's frickin' Chicken Man. Well, we went to Balboa Island and had some drinks and a nice supper, and that was really trippy and really memorable. And you see, if we lay back in the weeds thinking that we're safe from the ongoing chaos in society, by closing our eyes, shutting our mouth, plugging our ears, just going to work, coming home, hello, honey, what's for supper? Let's have some drinks. Let's do NFL football. Let's get the gang over. But I don't want to talk politics. Oh, no. Mostly because they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and so they don't want to be embarrassed, and so that's why they don't want to talk politics. And meanwhile, while that dog is circling the neighborhood, he jumps the fence and comes in and craps on your yard, and then she says, "How did that dog get in my yard to crap? Where are my constitutional rights?" Well, lady, it's too late. You get what you deserve. Because if we go through life with that attitude, we are going to get chewed up by outside forces. It's called reaping what you sow. It's called apathy, being unemotional, unattached, indifferent to the world around you. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to talk about it. And it's going to get you. Now, Chicken Man was a patriot. Think about it. Chicken Man got involved. He was not an apathetic bird. The world around him meant something to him and his family. He wasn't that person that was going to lack emotion and be indifferent about those policies that were going to negatively affect him. Chicken Man was a man's man. And it's up to you to become that chicken man. Not a man who's chicken, you see, but a real patriot who speaks out and works to make a difference when the fox is approaching the hen house. That's when you've got to yell and raise the flag and blow the sirens and make the calls and get involved with the lobbying and call your legislators and send the letters and talk to your neighbors and do the phone calls and get involved and make your mark known, like Chicken Man has done for all those years on syndicated radio from coast to coast. And when you are apathetic and sympathetic, like that apathetic, sympathetic, diabolical denizen of know-nothing, do-nothing USA that might be in your mirror, bark, 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 bark! It's Chicken Man! He's everywhere! It's time to wake up. It's time to put on the plumage and start a walk around your block, pecking around. You see? Now, several episodes ago, I spoke of Patricia Hearst and how she received government favors in her kidnapping ordeal and being tied to domestic terrorists. Her grandfather, however, was a titan of American values. Randolph Hearst was a staunch Catholic and president of the Hearst Newspaper Corporation. He owned newspapers across the country. And many of those newspapers sided with Adolf Hitler's pitch of anti-Semitism. They didn't like the Jewish liberalism. Hearst equated it to communism, which it is. He might have sided with Senator Joseph McCarthy from Wisconsin when McCarthy was on a quest to round up all communists who were Jews in the Hollywood production business. They were Jews with a few exceptions, but the inside crowd who made all the big epics, who made all the money, were Jews, and Jews being liberal. They had communist leanings back in those 50s, and still do. They made movies that were thought to be subversive to American culture. Now, Hearst was a man who got involved to protect and defend what he believed were American values. He talked the talk, and he walked the walk. He believed that communism is, as today, a big threat to democracy. It is. It's a softening agent. It's an agent that causes you to blame everybody else for your woes and your family's woes except that bird in the mirror. It takes away the initiative, the incentive, your moral compass, your spiritual values. It's a ball buster. Communism is a ball buster. And that's how Hearst saw it, as a threat to our democracy. Now, see if Hearst's words of yesteryear don't ring particularly true today. He writes, "Any man who has the brains to think and the nerve to act for the benefit of the people of the country is considered a radical by those who are content with stagnation and willing to endure disaster." You can't believe the type of crapola that I often receive about my social issues, about this show, about some of the legislative work that I've put together. And to me, it's not threatening because I'm a big boy and I've been around the block and I know when I can tell real life-threatening threats versus idle chit-chat. But if you're going to make a difference, and I know when you got a family and you got kids, that's a tough time, but I had a family and I had kids and I was doing all that stuff. And am I putting myself up on a plateau above you? No, I'm putting me up on an area where you should be with me. And that's what Hearst was saying. Yes, sometimes being on that untraversed trail to the top of the mountain, it can be tough. It can be full of briar patches and ruts and boulders and sniper shots from afar. But it's worthwhile. It's what being ever vigilant is all about. Just look at today's example, for instance. Think how Trump is pilloried and criticized around by today's liberal Jew press. Wow. The Jew press, always slanting something to make it look negative against Trump. He not only gets it from the Jew press, he gets it from the feminists. He gets it by all those other Democrats. It's happening right now, right under your nose. And why is it happening? Well, because Trump speaks of authority. He's the white alpha male. And today's pussy willows who have been raised by women and permissiveness in the public schools reject all form of authority, including God, with the attitude of, don't tell me what to do. That is, of course, until they get busted for their lawlessness and their lousy attitude, and then they appear in court whimpering. And they're sobbing like, the sissy that they've become, and they always were probably, and I'm sorry, and I didn't mean to do that. Lock them up for a good long time, that little pussy, cowardly, soft-spine wimp. And the blame game needs to come to a halt. My good friend John referred me to the book called Blood Money by Peter Schweitzer. I read it. I emailed my feedback to Schweitzer. No reply. I said the book basically blames China for everything that's bad today. The drugs, the COVID, the alphabet people, the queers and the faggots, the lesbians and all that, the family busting, the internet. Everything. Maybe even my baldness. I don't know. But I'm not playing the blame game. But I bet some people who are bald do. Well, so anyhow, I wrote to him, and, like the busted families and the communist infiltration and the indoctrination of the youth, I said, yes, but why don't you talk about the women whose sentimentalism now has completely overrun and have completely controlled all of the government administration offices in America. And they're all making $100,000 plus. They've all graduated from these ultra-liberal communist-fed schools and universities. And then they're in charge of the families. And their sentimentalism is like, oh, you poor thing. Well, Steve, the white guy with the Trump hat, he doesn't deserve favors because he's an asshole. But you, Maria and Jose, who had to sneak under the fence in the barbed wire with your children, oh, you deserve favors, health care and education, and we'll get you a home and your car and your driver's license. You see, that's the mentality. That's the problem. That's the core. And then it's the apathy that goes along with it because pussy willows, I don't know, are you one? But you go along with it. A lot of people you know go along with it. And they bow and they bend and they don't want to get involved. Huh? And then the dog strikes and it shits in the backyard. And then you wonder, wow, what happened? Or the fox comes into the hen house and eats them all up. And then you wonder, wow, what happened? I'll tell you what happened. You're chicken shit. You got to absolutely stay involved. You can't just be blaming every ill wind that comes along and say, well, that's why I'm feeling bad today, and that's why my family's gone, and that's why I'm busted, and that's why I'm having all these problems, you see? And that's what Schweitzer wants us to do. He doesn't want us to focus on the core reason, the women in control, the sentimentalism versus the man's, like Trump, pragmatism, which is cause and effect. If you do this, you're going to get this. The woman, like the mutt, who wears the Dyke Brown men's business suit, Kamala the commie, she's all sentimentalism. Oh, we're just going to have a good time. That's all such bullshit. How can you possibly even fall for it? But that's the sentimentalism in the women-run administration offices that's controlling the country, controlling your family. And that's what Trump and other men and a lot of women want to get rid of and want to protect us from. So I didn't hear any feedback from Schweitzer. He doesn't want to talk about it. He's one of those blame game types of pusses, and that's just typical. I don't hear from the Jews either when I say, well, why do people hate Jews? I never hear back from any of them. And I don't know whether they know or they don't want to get into a debate or an argument or they're stupid or they're coward, probably all of the above. But there have always been temptations and forces steering lousy behavior. The real problem is the person in the mirror, not someone else to blame like China. It's right there in the mirror. And so that's why Mr. Schweitzer has not responded. But that's why I'm asking you to make sure that you go to my website at stevehornerbooks.com and you read the book called Cunt. C period, U period, N period, T period. And Sean's putting it up on the screen right now. Thank you, Senora. That is at stevehornerbooks.com. And that talks about the problems created by these women I'm talking about. C period, U period, N period, T period. It stands for can't understand normal thinking. You can remember it with women have their periods, but we men, we're table thumpers. We're supposed to be table thumpers, in charge. We have our exclamation marks. And that's what is sorely missing in today's social arena. But make sure that when you go to that stevehornerbooks.com, you'll see up in the top menu line, it says podcast. Click it. The index rolls down. Just go down and click the server Rumble. And then you'll be able to see today's show, which is called Apathy is Killing Us. It's that indifference. It's not getting involved while the cunts run the show. And that's episode 61. And the rest of the shows from 1 to 60 are there. And over this summer hiatus, which it has been, it's been several months, but Sean, I'm glad to be back with you and back with the audience again. And I'll be doing a show about every other week. I'm in my happy retirement. I'm not going to be tied to this microphone very regularly, but it'll be maybe twice a month. And each and every one of those shows is so cool. And I was reviewing several of them during the summer because because it's not based on situational episodes like a sitcom on TV. It's based on the core root of what's the problem today, and that never changes. And that's why I urge you to go to stevehornerbooks.com and check out those podcasts from 1 to 60 and now this 61, and enjoy them, because some of them are quite thrilling and entertaining. And bark, 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 bark! You'll say, "There's Chicken Man! He's everywhere! He's everywhere!" Oh boy, and you'll be everywhere too, because when you go to the top of your mountain, those challenges, get off that well-worn trail and get off into the less traversed trail, and get to the top and be accomplished. You'll find yourself feeling better about yourself, better memories, richer rewards, and what a view from the top of the mountain. Until next time, I'm Steve Horner. You take real good care of yourself.
Thanks for joining us. Visit Steve's Cottage again with Steve Horner.